Hi, everybody. I am talking today with Ivan Robayo. He is a spiritual researcher, a writer, an artist, and much more. And today we're mostly talking about the topic of faith and religion and spirituality, good, bad, evil, virtue, all of it. It's going to be an intense one. So, welcome. How are you?
Hey,
How are
Owen,
you,
thank you so
Ivan?
much. Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here. Glad to be back. It's great to see
Always,
you.
yeah. Always good to talk to you. Yeah, yeah. So we were just talking before the stream started about Jordan Peterson and whether he's a Christian or not. And I'll just put my cards on the table. I don't call myself a Christian, although I'm from a Christian country and I share a lot of the moral ideas, a lot of the philosophical ideas of Christianity. And I certainly think that almost all the Christians I know who are real Christians, who have a kind of relationship with Jesus or with the Bible in some way, are very good people. Um, but I don't know, I'm kind of agnostic. I think I see Christianity as a very powerful cultural force, but I don't, and I do think I am sort of spiritual, but I don't necessarily want to say I think that what it says in the Bible is literally true. This literally happened. But I am willing to say that it might be true and it might have actually happened that way. Um,
Okay.
so I don't know. I'm interested in Christianity, maybe is the right phrase. Um,
Well, the last time that we spoke, I wasn't Christian. Now I am. So, I just wanted to say that from the start, and yeah, a lot of things that happened there. Uh, which also I think that's why we were talking about Jordan Peterson, right? Like, is he a Christian or not? Um what is the his position on that, and why is that important? Well, because to me, I think if you see something that is truth, you say it, and you need to fight for that truth or something like that. But yeah,
mhm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think when you see Jordan Peterson in like 2015, 16, when he started to become famous outside of Canada, um, he would say things like, Christianity is the bedrock upon which Western civilization was formed, and stuff like that. I won't do his accent every time, but it's a fun accent to do.
yeah, he's always
Uh,
angry, right? Yeah, he's
yeah, well, he's got this Canadian kind of northern Canadian accent, which I think is more easy for people who are not from the US and Canada to hear than Southern Canadian, because Southern Canadian just sounds like United States to me, you know.
yep.
But he really says like Toronto, and I don't know, it's recognizable. But anyway, he would say stuff like Christianity is really. He would say something similar to what I just said. Actually, like Christianity is really important for Western civilization, morality, and then I think he kind of realized, well, even science itself comes from this idea. Science came from the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church had these councils where they were trying to figure out rationally um, what God's creation of the world was made of and how it
Yes.
worked and stuff like that. But it had to come from this idea that there is truth at the bottom of everything, and that truth is kind of one and the same with God. It's God's creation, it's all that stuff. Whereas a lot of other religions, for example, in Hinduism and Indian religions in general, the kind of idea is the world is an illusion. You just have to be very disciplined and get through this life because it's a test, and then you'll be reincarnated in some other realm. But the world is a kind of it's Maya. It's an illusion. Um, and so Christianity is kind of radical in that sense. And I think Jordan Peterson realized that. And then the other story that he
Yeah.
tells is about his wife, who was very close to dying, and she had a kind of vision where she converted to being Catholic, like in the hospital on the spot. And
Mm.
then whatever disease she had that was a really serious disease just went away. And apparently, it's like one of the only times that doctors have ever seen this disease just disappear. Um,
I didn't know that. Okay, I didn't know that about that. That's So interesting, yes. Think about and
I
yeah,
think,
I think if you ask me about Jordan Peterson and his confusion, I think he reads Nietzsche too much. um, yeah, I think
yes, maybe.
Nietzsche is kind of dangerous in the sense that confuses you. So yeah, and I really mean it.
Well, Nietzsche was saying that people like to quote "God is dead," but the full sentence is "God is dead. We have killed him, and we will never find enough water to wash away the blood." In other words, God being dead is a bad thing for Nietzsche,
Yeah,
but people think that he said it like a good thing.
right. That's true.
Yeah, and yeah, this whole nihilistic philosophy. If you ask me, like nihilism is much more dangerous than agnosticism or atheism in and of itself. Although
Yes.
I will accept that there's a Venn diagram of overlap, where it's pretty hard to be a nihilist if you're an evangelical Christian, but it's quite easy to be a nihilist if you're an atheist, and you're just not open to. And I was really into atheism. I've got a bunch of atheist books somewhere. When I was like 17, and I thought I was really smart. And then I don't know, I got a bit older, and I thought this is just reductionist and really rude as well. Like a lot of those books are just like, oh, being religious is just really stupid. It's like, okay, you know, can we
Yeah.
come up with a better argument than that?
And
That'd be good.
that's the pride of Lucifer, if you ask me, as a Christian. That's
Sure.
that's something that you once you understand what is pride, is so enlightening and so it releases you from a lot of things, and not from a religious perspective, from an archetypical perspective. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
your intellect is limited. Like you cannot find God in your own intellect.
Mm.
It's almost like you have
Yeah.
8 gigabytes of RAM and you try to
Yeah.
process God there, you won't find it.
God is a very big file. You know.
You get it.
You need a lot of GPUs. No, I'm joking. But it's really interesting you say that. So pride is almost like a lack of humilde, humility. Humility. Yeah. And is that the word I'm looking for? I think that is the word I'm looking for. Humility.
Yes, is the antithesis, exactly. And if you are looking for truth and you see something that is truth and your pride doesn't allow you to accept that, you have a problem.
I
With
made a video the other day called Revelatory Core Ideas, which is not a very good title, to be honest. But it's about how if you are willing to say, when you think you know a lot about something, I gave loads of examples. For example, with, what's a good one? With music, okay? I thought I had to learn all the different terminology about a harmonic minor scale and a Dorian scale and all this stuff, and I had to understand it, and I had to be able to read music and all that stuff in order to be smart at it. And or actually, no, sorry, a better example is language. I thought I would have to memorize a dictionary to speak another language, German first, and then Italian, and then Latin, and then Greek, then Russian, and then Spanish are kind of my language journeys. And really, I it took me a while to realize it's not about that. It's about taking it one context at a time, one situation at a time, and seeing how people use the language. Um, for example, if we were to take an English sentence and just translate every word to the Spanish word as it is in the dictionary, it would make no sense. You know, it would make literally no sense.
that's true.
Even
Yep.
worse with German, because German has the words in different order, and every word has a different form depending on whether depending on what the word is doing in the sentence. Like there's a different word for on the table compared to I'm looking at the table, and another word for the top of the table, and another word for I don't know, the table is standing there. The word table would be different in all of those circumstances. So if you were to just take the German dictionary and look at it, it would make no sense. But you have to have a bit of humility to say, well, I've learned something very big about this. Therefore, which is that I have to take it one context at a time. So therefore, I should just stop pretending that I know everything about other stuff, because if I've done it with one thing, it's going to be the same with everything. I think I know something about computer programming. I probably don't know very much, so I have to say, I have to be I have to have humility. How do you say that? Humble.
Yeah.
I have to be humble in order to learn, in order to take in more information. Because the prideful person says, well, I've made one site, so therefore there's nothing for me to learn, And the humble person says, well, I've done this, sure, but what about, I don't know, JavaScript or whatever? Like, what about learning more? I don't know. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I think we live in a society where it's pride is praised to be prideful and to, social media, your vanity, you defend your values. I don't know, we can go, for example, to a lot of new identities that are being created nowadays. You defend that with pride, pride, be prideful of what you are. I don't know, maybe you're in the wrong team and you need to be humble enough to change paths,
Sure.
not to, it doesn't matter that you go with conviction to a cliff. At the end, you will,
Yes.
so yeah.
Well, I also think, like, we're in a culture where everyone is capable of doing a lot of pretending. Anyone can be anonymous online. Anyone can send an anonymous email that's just really horrible to, I don't know, the president or whoever you want, any person. Maybe you can't find the president's email, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, you could just go and say, fuck Donald Trump, I hate him so much, on your phone, and then you feel like you've done more than you've really done, and you've expressed yourself, but it doesn't make your voice. It doesn't mean that people have to respect you, but people do a lot of pretending. Sorry, I've kind of mixed up two things there, but I think people do a lot of pretending to be an expert more than they are. Like people pretending to be confident, like, I don't know if you go to a nightclub and you see these guys getting drunk, pretending to be confident. There's just like a circle around them where all the women are like, going away, like in other directions. It's just like, because they can just tell
through
when
deception.
Yeah, people can see deception a lot of the time. I also like, we get confused between pride and a lack of shame. Like, when it comes to, like, if someone's gay, you don't have to be ashamed of that, but is pride the right word, or is it just that you don't feel ashamed or something like this?
That's good. If you're humble, you're able to see how wicked you were, like how wrong you were. So that's why it's so hard, because you need to rebuild your identity and need to be born again. And but you mentioned something about the occult. I'm curious about that.
Oh yeah. Well, where do I start with this? So, I don't know. There's a video on my channel called The Strange True Tale of John Dee and Edward Kelly, which is a story from British history. John Dee was a magician. It was weird because this was during a time when science was just starting. And so he was a scientist and a wizard, and he was a politician, and he was a scholar, and he was a professor, and all this stuff. He was just a smart person of the time. He knew about mathematics, and people were very scared of mathematics. It seemed like something occult to them.
Right.
And he was the advisor to Queen Elizabeth I. And it was actually him that came up with the idea of having a British Empire, because he was worried about the Spanish Empire having too much power, and maybe the Portuguese or something like that. So he thought, well, we have to do that too, because we're an island. We get invaded all the time. The Romans, the Vikings, the Danes, the French, the Normans, and so forth and so on. And so he had this idea of British Empire. But anyway, he spent a lot of his life trying to talk to angels. And he was such a rationalist, he was such a empiricist, scientist type guy that he couldn't really do that. He couldn't really have spiritual experiences. And they didn't have psychedelics back then. You couldn't just go to Peru and take ayahuasca or something. That wasn't a thing. He had a schizophrenic guy called Edward Kelly, who was previously arrested for trying to bring the dead back to life, so for necromancy, and he'd had his ears cut off because of forgery. So he tried to make fake coins. And back in the medieval period, they would cut your ears off so everyone knew this person is a liar. And so he started working with this very important political advisor. And this guy would have crazy visions. And he used to say, oh, I'm talking to angels. The angels are saying this and that. But it turned out that the angels were really just saying stuff that was very convenient for Edward Kelly. Like, oh, I need to sleep with your wife. Like, oh, the angels have told me that I need to sleep with your wife. And stuff like that.
Not that good of an angel. Yeah, if you ask me.
Would an angel say that? Yeah, well, John Dee decided, I think this guy's talking to demons. And he went home. He was just like, whatever. But Edward Kelly became very rich because he used to go around Europe and tell people, like the King of Bohemia, the Holy Roman Emperor based in Bohemia, whose name I've forgotten which one it was. He told him, oh, I can make gold. I'll make as much gold as you want. And just let me have a laboratory. It will take a couple of years or something. Just give me a load of money. And when he couldn't, they ended up throwing him in jail, and he tried to escape, and he fell right the way down the stairs and died. And this is a story to me of selling your soul. This is like the Faustian bargain. It's like you do something occult and it gets you this big success, but then you literally fall down the tower, like the tarot card. The tarot card of the tower. It's about pride, and it's about because the tower is kind of delicate, because it's like this, it gets struck by lightning and it falls, and I think that I noticed this story many times, the same story. This story I just told you, a lot of times it happened with Aleister Crowley, who was a magician, yes. and he had a big rise. He became very famous, very rich, traveled the world, but for him it was drugs. And back then you could buy heroin in stores. It was just it was the painkiller, morphine and heroin. Heroin was a brand name for diacetylmorphine. So there you go. And he thought, well, I'm such a powerful magician that I can control these drugs, cocaine and heroin specifically. And they killed him, basically. They made him, when he was in his 60s, he couldn't get out of bed. And the whole second half of his life just was ruined. Basically, he ended up very poor. And I haven't told you about my experiences yet, but that's the background. It's like I was reading a lot of this stuff and thinking clearly.
Okay, well, I'm looking now at some of the images of I look John Dee and Wikipedia, and I see the sigils. Just for you to know, I do have made my research on occultism and witchcraft and a lot of things before I became a Christian. And sacred geometry is quite the topic. Basically, what he's doing is to, communicating with demons. He's communicating with these different intelligences that might say to you, I'm an angel, or maybe I'm an alien, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Whatever. Yeah, an alien. That's a big one now, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. It's the same. It's all deception. Yep.
Same kind of pattern, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, wow. And Aleister Crowley, if you see one of the drawings that he did for one of these entities, is this gray alien. Is it,
iWax.
you know?
Yeah. Let me put that on the screen for people who
I
watch
do.
this in the future.
I watched an interview or a documentary where the this that happened before even the whole Area 51 and the Roswell accident happened in the US. So it's not. It's almost like the zeitgeist, the spirit of the era, creates these shapes, and we as humans, or whatever human that is exploring that, will get those signals, which are all fake, by the way. As a Christian, I understand that, but yeah, there you
This was
go.
the image. Doesn't that look like an alien to you?
Absolutely, absolutely. So this person was talking to that, and yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's fascinating.
Um,
Oh, dangerous, but yeah.
yeah. Do you
I
think
understand.
it's a form of people going crazy as well because they think that there's this extra layer of reality and they think that they can control reality, and maybe if they're very charismatic like Crowley or like Edward Kelly, they can convince people to give them money to be a part of their movement, all this stuff. But then when people find out that it either doesn't work or it does something bad, they end up losing. They end up failing. They end
It
up
backfires. It backfires. No, and yeah, I mean, you can say that, yeah, people are getting crazy thinking about this, talking to these imaginary friends. But once you have an actual experience with this, is where you kind of put things in perspective. Because as I mentioned in my when we talk with when we spoke before, in my videos and all that, I had some experiences with that, with LSD. I heard voices, I
Mhm.
saw things. It's not something that you can only imagine, right? And you actually, if you take notes and you actually study this, at the end you have knowledge that you didn't have before, which
Yeah.
is that is not possible if you are really imagining this. So yeah, I'm curious to know what you have been up to.
Okay. Well, I think I had a little backfiring. Let's
Okay.
say. So
Dude.
I just I don't know. This was around this was 2024. This was like April, I think. This was a weird time in my life. I was working in tech, and I was enjoying my job a lot, and I was pretty good at it. And at Cambridge University as well. So I had this sense of like, well, I'm doing really well suddenly, and I was doing very badly in 2022. And just a couple of years later, I was doing really well. And I think maybe I got a little bit unhumble, a bit proud, a bit too confident,
Mhm.
and I started doing. I was getting worried because I was always a musician from being about 15 to, well, I'm still a musician, but but during those years when I was um, working with tech and all that stuff, I guess partially because I didn't have that much time, but I also noticed like I think I'm getting less creative. I can blame Jordan Peterson a little bit for that as well, because he said one time, once you hit 25, creativity starts to go down. And I was thinking like, I want that to happen, you know. And so I started
Yeah.
doing these visualization rituals, I guess. And it's
Mhm.
just it's just something, it's just a something to do in your mind. Like close your eyes and, you know, focus on picturing something, making the image come into your vision for a long time and stuff like that. And you're only supposed to really do it safely for a short period, for a little bit of time. And I think I did it a bit too much. And I happened to be the only one in the house at this point, and so there was no one else here. And I
Okay.
sort of entered into this visionary state that I couldn't get out of.
Oh.
So I was seeing things behind my eyes, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, this is working well. Time to like stop and then
Yeah.
come back to reality." And I tried to come back to reality, and I just kept hearing these voices of people that I knew, people I didn't know, saying like really random things. I was like,
Whoa.
this is strange. Like, no drugs, sober. Sober. Like, that's the crazy part. I tell people this story, they're like, oh, sounds like ketamine to me. It's not ketamine. There was no ketamine involved. It was just my mind. And I went outside and I was seeing these like big shapes moving, and I'm like, this is so weird. I know this can't be real. What's happened? And then it went.
Were you scared? Did you feel scared when you?
Yes, at some moments, especially after. At first, I was thinking like, I've just activated my imagination too much. It's okay, but it sort of didn't go away for hours and hours and hours. It didn't really go away till I fell asleep and woke up the next day. And I went for a walk, and the sun was getting low in the sky, so the sky was sort of red and then black. It turned into night, and I was walking along the river, and I was just seeing these shadowy things like moving, and I mean really seeing them. Like, I've taken psychedelics, and psychedelics are not something to take lightly. Everybody, it's definitely an intense experience. It's not the same as having a few drinks with your mates in the pub. It's really intense and personal and heavy and emotional and sort of emotionally disturbing, I guess. Like, I don't mean disturbing like it's always bad, but it gives you very strong emotions. But this was not like that, because psychedelics, you can still see the world. You get the sense like, oh, patterns are moving, and you have a little bit of visual distortion, maybe a lot of visual distortion, but you still can kind of see the world, and you can sort of switch it off a little bit. You can think, what's that? Yeah, okay, I know what that is. That's a door, that's or whatever. But this was like, oh, I'm really seeing actual like creatures everywhere in the shadows. It was very weird. And then it went away for exactly 1 year. And then it came back for no apparent reason, like exactly 1 year later. And then it got worse and worse and worse. So that was this summer. And I was hearing more voices all the time. Whenever it was quiet, I would hear all these voices like in the walls and stuff like that. And yeah, it was tough. I eventually went to a doctor, and I got prescribed promethazine, which is a antihistamine that's supposed to also have a bit of an effect on dopamine, where it stops your dopamine from spiking like this. So it would stop me, like, if I, instead of thinking like, oh, that could be a voice, oh my god, what's going to happen, it's just like, oh, that's probably not a voice. And it's gone away now. But I do think that a lot of this is partially because I was not very careful with the rituals I was kind of messing around with. And I didn't think it was going to be real, to be honest. I didn't think it was having an effect.
Yeah, you never think that it is, and then it is.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of that. I told you before, I'm like agnostic. I have no idea what to make of that. Whether it's a psychological phenomenon or a spiritual one or something else.
Well, I found this very interesting question, which explains the whole Bible from a quantum physics perspective, a scientific perspective. Is so interesting because this also has to do with, again, geometry. Let me share this idea, and maybe we can resolve this dilemma together. It's almost like you are an ant in the universe. So if there is a human and an ant, if you start, for example, to flash a flashlight over the ant will start to think, okay, there are some lightnings, right? And maybe there is like this god that is controlling me, right?
Okay.
If the ant wants to communicate with the human, how can we do that? The answer is mathematics, which is geometry. So it's almost like all these sigils are just like maps. So it's almost like the ant puts a sign that says square or triangle, right? Or pentagram. And the human, God, will, or demon, or spirit, or angel, whatever, higher intelligence, will
Hmm.
identify or not with that, understands or not these signs, right?
That's why, like Led Zeppelin, each of the members chose a demon to have as their sigil, and so every member of Led Zeppelin has one of these sigils.
Exactly.
And they
So
lived in Aleister
that,
Crowley's house, by the way. They bought Aleister Crowley's house and lived there, and then they said, "We are never going back. We're not going to talk about what happened, but we're never going back."
oh God, God have mercy on us. I mean it. I'm fearful of God, if you ask me, Owen. And for everybody who is watching, I do fear God because, in a way, we are blocked from this realm for a reason. It's almost like we cannot go there because we're not ready.
Uh-huh.
And when you break that wall, um, it's almost like you are carrying this mm, flashy light across the darkness, and everybody who sees the darkness will try to get the light, right?
I understand your metaphor now. Yeah, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
But
And
what does an ant even do with a flashlight? An ant doesn't know how to use batteries, you know.
exactly. And that's the where pride gets you tricked into going through it. So let me tell you, Owen, that also makes me one big realization after this spiritual journey is that Terence McKenna was wrong. Like
Mm.
very wrong
About what?
about everything. Is like, yeah, because he says he was so brave. Like I admire his spirit for sure. He was saying things like, you gotta go fully, right? We If you want the knowledge, you gotta go to the end. It's almost like, exactly as what Nietzsche said, which is, if you
Five
start looking,
diagrams, you know, in
okay,
silent darkness. Yeah,
exactly,
sorry.
exactly. And Nietzsche said, if you look at to the void will start looking back at you. Why
Mhm.
did Nietzsche say that? Right? Think about that.
It's very deep, that quote. It's very deep.
Yeah, and so yeah, Terence McKenna, of course, that's why I do see that atheism, or people who are don't believe in God, and yeah, the 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 spirit of a person who is atheist is brave, but is not wise in that sense. You can be brave and get killed.
Mm. Yes. Yeah, when people just say, because people say it all the time, they say things like, oh, we have to just get past religion. It's like, well, yeah, I don't think you know what religion is. It's like this cultural operating system. At least, like the Jordan Peterson thing, it's at least a cultural
At
operating system that
minimum, yeah,
helps
the first
community
layers. Yes.
at the minimum. Um, and it's got some very deep ideas within it as well. That's the next level, and there's all these levels to it. I don't think people realize that religion, culture, and history. I don't want to say that they're the same thing, but they're very similar. You know, like they're very like it was only when we started believing in religion that history really began, because we have prehistory where people were just fighting each other and having tribal wars and genocide and all this stuff. And then you have the cognitive revolution. I forget when that was, like 100,000 years ago or 30,000 years ago. And suddenly you see religion, you see art, and you see culture, and you see peace and negotiation and language in a much more sophisticated, complex form, and people being able to discuss with each other and communicate and empathize. It all happened at the same time, you know. So this idea that we can just get rid of, you can't get rid
Right.
of religion, just like you can't get rid of history. You can't say it's the end of history. you know.
Yeah, and when you try to do that, you start then creating a new one because, as you said, it's so necessary. It's so key to our function that is there, and
Well,
that was
politics. People use politics like a new religion, you know? Like their number one like foundational thing is going to be like equality or liberty or freedom or the nation state or the power of the white race or
and then
whatever.
there is a Messiah there who is this person that really understands the politic doctrine and
Yes,
wants to
yes.
save the world.
Well, Hitler got rid of all the Bibles and replaced it with his book Mein Kampf,
Yep.
right? And I think Mao did the same thing with another book, or the communists did the same thing with a communist book. You know, it's just this
Yeah.
like
And if you ask me, there is a fight against the Bible because of that, because it's true. I do believe that is true. I do.
well,
Eh,
Mein Kampf is like Hitler just complaining about his things from his perspective, whereas the Bible is like hundreds of people have over 2,000 years put this book together and thought very carefully about the order of the stories, and it's lots of different writers, lots of perspectives. Like even the fact that there are four gospels that tell the same story of Jesus,
right.
but from a different perspective. It's a fractal book. The Bible is a fractal book, you know,
Yeah.
psychedelic
Yeah.
almost.
That's beautiful. I like that. Yep. And
Thank
all
you.
right, Jordan Peterson had also or saw this. I'm sorry, Nietzsche saw this dilemma that you mentioned. So we kill God. What do we do now? And Jordan, I agree with Jordan Peterson when he said that Nietzsche got it wrong, which is Nietzsche went, he kept going to the void, meaning
Mm-hmm.
that he needed to create now the Übermensch, right?
Yes, right.
Which Jordan Peterson says, no, you shouldn't create a Übermensch, you should go to Christianity or the Christian
Mm-hmm.
values, truths. But yeah, that's where Nietzsche got wrong. And that's where if you can dive into Nietzsche's ideas and see some sort of interesting truth so deep that nobody understands, but that is just a confusion at the end. And I
Yeah,
say it by heart. I started to read Nietzsche when I was like 14. I was like a big Nietzsche fan, like with the
precocious
hammer and all.
reading.
Yeah.
Yes. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think Jordan, you know, some people who are really smart, like Nietzsche, actually, they speak in a way that is like meta true, where in the future people will look back and they'll say, look, this person was so ahead of the time. And they know that they're ahead of the time. But it doesn't mean that everything they say is literally like Sam Altman's a bit like that. He speaks in meta truths, things that will look
Interesting.
much more true in the future. And I think Jordan Peterson's a bit like that, where he's pro Christianity, but he thinks the way to increase Christianity is to make this cultural argument of like, well, this is why if you want there to be more peace in the West, you should look at Christianity. If you want there to be more harmony in your personal life, he even makes a point of saying, and you know, there's lots of incels these days and things like that, and he says the people who have the most sex are religious married couples. He says that a lot these days, and it's
Okay.
almost like he's trying to push people to do the right thing
Right.
via the current cultural moment, which is science and rationality and all that stuff. Whereas if he started saying you have to give yourself up to the kingdom of God and all that stuff, a number of people would just be like, "Oh, Jordan Peterson's turned into some crazy Bible basher. You're not interested." You know, so he might be being very clever with what he says.
Right. If
Which,
he's doing that, I will respect him a lot. Yeah. If he's really, if deeply in his heart he is a good person, that's good.
do you want to
So
watch the video? I found a video before of him saying, I think he says he believes in God in this video for the first time.
really, okay.
I think so. Let me have a quick look. If I just, I'll get rid of that and share
And you
screen. Yeah.
know what? I also had, I didn't tell you about this one, another realization after my conversion and all, which is technology is like a fake world. So think about this, Minecraft. I never really played that game or anything, but I guess I kind of get what is the gist, which is a virtual world. So we're changing the virtual for the real world for the virtual, which is not good. But yeah, we can.
I'm making a video about that at the moment. I
Okay.
call it. I use Minecraft as the example because I say that there's sort of two types of virtuality: dreamscape and dream parks. And in dream parks, the idea is you can do whatever you want. It's
I saw your
Minecraft
video.
creative
Yeah,
mode.
I
You have
saw
infinite blocks. You can make anything. And Dreamcraft is more like an adventure that's designed to give you a lot of serotonin and a lot of reward as you go through these challenges that get harder and harder. But I'm also saying it's kind of a replacement for real adventure and real life, which might piss off some gamers, but I'm not anti-gamer. It's just like you can't be addicted to video games. That's a very bad idea because you may as well just have a real adventure in your life, you know. Yeah. Would you like to watch this?
Yep.
I think it's this part.
I would ask
Can you hear it?
Here's my supplementary. Do you ever
Yep.
pray?
Always.
Who do you pray to?
The spirit that protects you from hell.
But that, many people would say, is God.
Hey, sounds good to me. And so you might say, well, I said I pray always. So what does that mean? I'm trying to say the clearest words I can say. And I do that by paying attention. I'm listening to the words and feeling them as I move along, thinking, is that a firm foundation in the morass? Is that a bridge over the abyss? Is that word the right word? I do that when I'm writing. I do that when I'm talking. And I do that because I don't want to be in the abyss. And the pathway over the abyss is the truth. Now, with regards to belief in God, you might say, and I know that you're not particularly religiously inclined, at least that's the theory.
I think he cries in this video.
Well,
Sorry?
I think he cries in this video, or have seen later on, right?
Yeah, could be. Maybe
I do remember seeing this
you have
caption and then his face going red or something. I don't know. Maybe I imagine it.
No, you might be right. I think there's quite a few interviews on the same show. Hang on.
have a character, Pierce.
There's a bit where he said,
everyone has a character. You could say that would be the spirit of Pierce Morgan. And then we might say, well, let's inquire into that spirit. If you were a hedonist, then the spirit that would be Pierce Morgan would be your hedonistic whims. And that would be your God. I would say if you're a noble person, then your spirit is something elevated above your mere whims. And then there's the spirit that's inculcated within you. It's a consequence, perhaps, of your socialization, but in a more sophisticated way, it's actually a consequence of the spirit that you've allowed as a consequence of your choices to dwell within you. And that spirit has a nature. It might be allied with the truth, it might be allied with falsehood. If it's allied with the truth, it's a manifestation of what has been considered traditionally the logos. The more you're aligned with the truth, the more your spirit is an avatar of the logos.
I think he's talking about the Holy Spirit, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think he's saying here, everyone has a God because everyone has an ultimate something
that dwells in them.
At
right?
the top of your pyramid of conceptualization, what's the most important thing? For some people, it's money or power, sex, fame.
In his case, it's a noble aspiration, right? The logos, if I understand.
Yeah. The logos is the idea of the word of God as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I think just look. There's a part. I'm sure there's a part where he says he believes in God. It must be this. Do you think there's an actual?
But do you think there is? But do you think there's an actual hell, Jordan? Is there somewhere that people like that go to, which is hell?
Oh, definitely. Now, what relationship that has to what happens to you when you die, I have no idea. I mean, I don't think anybody's in a position to speak about what's truly beyond our ken, let's say. I don't think we understand consciousness at all. We don't understand time. We don't understand the relationship between finitude and the infinite landscape that surrounds us. That's all a great mystery, and I tend to leave that alone because I try not to speak about things that I can't speak about.
See if he
Prayer,
says what I'm looking for at the end.
people don't understand. People think of God as, the joke is, a cosmic butler. You pray to have your wishes granted. It's like, he's not a genie. You want to pray? It's like, pray about your stupidity. Here's a prayer that'll work for sure. You want to see if prayer works? Here's one. This will work. Sit on the edge of your bed. Ask yourself, what bloody stupid thing do I continue to do that's making my life more miserable than it has to be, and everyone else's life around me, that I could give up, that I would give up? But you have to really want the answer. So you open yourself up in humility to a revelation. You'll get an answer. It won't be one you want. That's how you'll know it's true. But if you act on it, then your life will improve. And that's a proper prayer.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Like, in a metaphysical sense, the Christian insistence that you should be aware of your sins, which is in a sense an existential burden, is also the idea that you should attend to your own inadequacies and admit to them, because in doing so,
you believe in God?
You open up the possibility that something better can make itself manifest within you. And there's no doubt that that's the case.
Hello?
That's...
You got lost. Okay.
Yeah,
no.
sorry. There we go.
Do you believe in God?
I don't think that's anybody's business. I think it's the most private question you can ask someone. But then I would say also, what's the right response to that? By their fruits you will know them. How's that?
Well, let me ask you a different question then. Do you think there is a God?
I'm terrified that there might be, Pierce. How's that? And I'm not trying to be a smartass when I'm making that comment either. Like they say.
I think he's good. I think he's a good person.
Yeah, I definitely think he's a good person. Yeah. I think I know so many people, including both of us, who've had a benefit from his writings and his lectures. For me, it was his lectures. I watched his lectures in 2017, I think, and then again in 2020.
So you saw them when he was in the classroom. You saw all of the series. Yeah.
All of them. I've seen, well, maybe not all of them. I think he's done the same course. There's like the 2014 course, 15, 16, 17. I think I saw each course 1 or 2 times. And I've seen the biblical lecture series. I think that's the one. After he did that, he became more religious, more really kind of believing in things. But yeah, I don't know. He gives good answers. He gives answers that make you think, He doesn't give a straight answer. He doesn't say, yes, I believe in God. He says, well, I'm terrified that there might be a God, or something like that. But you said that quote.
Yeah, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. I think you should reflect on that. Yeah. Yes.
See, for me, God is the universe, or it's not just the universe, it's the energy and momentum of the universe. It's the movement and the motion and the life. The way and the life and the truth, I guess. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just by definition. And I just think we cannot know what's beyond the universe. We see this fractal scale, don't we? This thing of like an atom kind of looks like a planetary system, kind of looks like a galaxy system. What if the universe is like a neuron in the mind of God?
Yes. Now let me just interrupt you real quick, because that's so important. The nature of reality is fractal, as you said, and there are doors. When there is death, there is life. Right? You need to die in order to live. Yeah. So that put things in perspective, and especially the afterlife. So if all of the fractal has continued without interruption from ages, the sunrise, then the night, this doesn't stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
what makes you think that it will stop when you die?
Nothing. No,
Right. So
well, the
yeah,
sun will keep going, presumably, unless the sun exploding is what kills me. The sun will keep going.
but your consciousness is what I mean. Like, yeah, of course the world keeps going when you die, right? But what you were, your spirit, let's say, your soul, does it die?
Well, there is an idea that, so you know how the body produces DMT.
Yeah, when you die, and yeah,
yeah. Well, when you die, the first thing that goes is your gut, and your gut is what breaks down DMT. And so there is this idea that when you die, part of what happens is all the DMT that's being produced by your lungs ends up in your brain, where normally it wouldn't be because the gut breaks it down, but your gut stops working before your brain stops working when you die. And so people have this kind of trip where they reflect on their life, and they know they're dying for the most part. They kind of end up reflecting on their life, and it can feel like infinity. And if you feel like you've had a good life, according to a mixture between your morals and what you know is moral, because people have their own morals, but there's also a sense of people just know that if you kill someone, that's bad. People just know that. And if you feel like you've not had a good life, you end up with some kind of hellish trip. I think that that's a reasonable chemical explanation. I heard that from someone. I think I heard that from Brian Greene or someone like that, a physicist. I'm sure it was a physicist who said that.
it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, and I guess my yeah, not. I don't know. I don't really know, but yeah, I have seen many experiences of people telling about their experiences about death, near death experiences.
Yes.
Some say that you judge yourself, that you will go and you yourself judge your own acts and all that, which is this God consciousness that lives in you. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's almost like you're preparing for that moment, that judgment day, if you ask me, right? That judgment of your consciousness fully, all of your sins, your acts in fully display. That's also something that I really didn't think about before Christianity, which was to confess your sins. Because in Buddhism, I studied Buddhism for a lot. I practiced it, I guess, for a lot of time.
Yeah.
And they, of course, if everything is oneness and unity and an illusion, then there is no really sin. Like you just were blinded by your passions, but once you overcome that, it was all illusion. So, but if you ask me, there is a repercussion. There is something that really changes the course of history of the life of a person. For example, if you kill somebody, even though if it was an illusion, it's done. Right. So,
You just popped a balloon. All you did was pop a balloon.
right.
Whatever.
I think, yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Who is this person? Zizek, the philosopher.
Okay, I'm not sure who's that.
I forgot his first name, but let me give you. I know you know him. Slavoj Zizek.
Oh yes.
Right?
Yes, I think it said Zizek. Yes.
Yeah. You got it. I'm sorry, my
No. Okay.
pronunciation was.
What do you mean you don't speak Czech? How can you not speak Czech? It's the most important language in the world. No. Yeah.
My Czech teacher is just
whatever it is. I don't know.
Not proud of this point.
But
He makes a very good critique of Buddhism, which is okay. So I can kill. There are these koans of Buddhism, which is unity, splash, beauty. it's almost like these poems that supposedly explain the whole universe, right?
Mm.
So he says, go to the bathroom, poop, oneness, right? And it's like, okay. Or kill, oneness. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's interesting. It's not that easy to resolve the whole dilemma of evil and your actions
Yeah.
just with an
very true.
illusion.
Do you think yeah, I mean, I've heard this idea that, well, I think people who have this kind of neo-Buddhism, like modern internet age Buddhism, it is
Yeah.
like that one of the things that you hear is,
That's a good name.
well, it's like you might make mistakes, but that's the path too. If you stray from the path, that's also the path. Now, I'm not talking about killing someone. I'm talking about, like, I don't know, maybe you steal something, or you do like a smaller act, and then you realize that's wrong and you make up for it somehow.
Right.
Or you think in a very selfish way for a while and you forget about caring about other people. You know, being off of the path is also the path, you know, is kind of something that they say. But you bring up a really good point, because what about, like, I don't know, mass murderers or something? Do we want them to experience oneness? You know,
What is exactly what is the cost of oneness? What is the cost of you coming to the truth through evil? Right?
yeah. Yeah, we don't want like a mass rapist or someone to think, oh, all I've done is pop a balloon and now I feel oneness with the world. It doesn't really matter, you know.
Right,
Stop
right.
screaming. You know, it's like that's a confusing moral doctrine to have, or a confusing moral perspective to have, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. I really don't have the answer to that. Maybe this is where patriarchal religions come in. Religions where there's a god that judges you, you know. Yeah.
Yes, and those are the hard questions that one needs to do and really ask oneself, because yeah, it's so easy for people to say we don't need religion, we can create a law that is so perfect that nobody will steal. But there are really hard questions, like how do you raise a family, your
Yeah.
sexual desire,
Right. If
is
you're like an Andrew Tate or someone who's got like 5 wives and doesn't seem to treat them that well, like he seems to give them money, but then he just goes and marries someone else and has more children. All he seems to care about is having lots of children and with lots of different women. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, is that really moral? Because how are those kids growing up? Are they growing up with a dad who teaches them about the boundaries of the world and invests lots of time in them and teaches them how
I don't know
to...
if that person will have a daughter. He still will tell her since she's a child, you are just a woman. I'm going to give you money. You can do webcam shows when you are 18.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
think about it. Like, it's so wicked that.
Yes. You know, I saw a podcast. I couldn't get over this. This podcast is sort of why I made the polemics video, but it's like, it was Andrew Tate and Bonnie Blue, and Bonnie Blue is a OnlyFans.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Basically, she does things where she'll sleep with 1,000 men in a day, or she'll put herself naked in public, chained up somewhere, and anyone can go and have sex with her and stuff like that. Like a playground slide or something. And it's so funny. Andrew Tate and Bonnie Blue agree on everying. They agree on absolutely everything.
I didn't know about that, but that's
it's like so Andrew Tate said, he says all women are sex workers. Every single woman in the whole world is a sex worker. You know, if woman gets married to a man, she's exchanging sex for that house. She's, whatever. And it's like,
Yeah, so
but the difference is
pragmatical.
that you admit it. You just tell the truth, And she's like, yeah, you know what? I agree. And I'm the end point of feminism. And he's like, you are the end point of feminism, And she's saying like, well, women need to do this and that, and women need to take power. And he's saying, well, men are the oppressed ones, and men need to take power. And it's like, just have the same philosophy. The exact same philosophy. It was shocking. It was really shocking to watch.
And they're also very young. Well, I don't know Andrew Tate's age, but
35?
Yeah.
I think 35-ish.
Maybe this girl is also still so childish in his thinking. I really hope she finds God. I mean it, because it's too painful, I will say, for her, and especially I guess after all this backlash and all this.
Mm-hmm. Well, she seems to be a little bit of a psychopath and I mean that like technically, where she doesn't feel damaged by what she's doing. She doesn't feel any emotions whatsoever. She doesn't care when people attack her online. She doesn't care what her parents think about her. She seems to be a little bit on that. I don't want to diagnose her with something, but a little bit psychopathic or sociopathic or whatever.
Yeah.
Emotionally cold, emotionally flat, not capable of making very good bonds with people. Like she doesn't care.
I don't blame her, because at some point you will close yourself to endure. But you're closing yourself to endure in a path that is always trying to destroy you. So you need to go to a path that is just not going to do that. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say also about this. But yeah, it's crazy what you say about that they agree. Like,
they agree on everything. They spoke for 2 hours and they didn't even argue.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. That's so funny. Like,
yeah. Obviously, it was set up like it was going to be a debate, but they didn't debate. They just had the same opinion. Like, because she's saying like, well, me with my feminine, womanly wiles, I can take advantage of men, and this is fine. And he's saying like, yeah, well, all the men who go and pay for your content, they're just weak, and they need to come and join my team and be strong. But whatever. And it's just like, okay. I really hate the gender war.
Crazy times that we live in.
Yeah, the gender war is my least favorite thing about modernity. It's so ugly, It's very ugly. Because men and women are supposed to be like a harmonizing duality, They're supposed to work together.
Yeah.
Like me and my girlfriend, I was talking about this with Greedy G in my last podcast. Me and my girlfriend, like we really balance each other out quite profoundly, I would say. And not every couple is going to balance each other out in the same way, but it's not helping for women to say men are the problem. We have to, anything a woman does against a man is legitimate. And then for men to start saying the exact same thing, women are the problem, women are this and that. It's just very, very ugly and a horrible use of energy, like, and it's so wrong. It's against nature.
Yes.
Where we're supposed to work together, clearly.
I totally agree with that, Owen. Yep.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that we have this. Yeah, I call it the gender war. My friend Stan, who I also did a live stream with, he told me a while ago that when he was watching the 2016 US election, he felt like it was like men versus women, where all the women wanted Hillary Clinton, all the men wanted Donald Trump, and he thinks that was the start of it. I think it started earlier, but quite possibly that's sort of what happened. The same thing again in 2024.
Yeah, and there is a war on gender for sure, and all that. That's quite a topic for sure. Yeah, that's crazy times that we live in for sure. We need to be smart to think for ourselves, not to believe what the media says, what the movie says, what they want your child to think. All this campaign in the little kids shows where you can choose your gender and all that. I'm all against that, and it's so bad. I
I
don't.
think it's confusing. I like clearly trans people are real. Like it's something that goes back through history. There's lots of examples, but I think the dangerous thing that's happened lately is that it became temporarily very cool.
Right. It's like a trend. It's like it's now the thing. No, come on. Yeah. But anyway.
This is obvious if you look at the data, by the way. This isn't some hateful comment, because if you look at the data, between 2017 and 2023, there was this big spike, like where trans people went from 3% of the population to like 20% of under 25s or whatever. And now it's gone down again. So it seems like the real number is like 3%, or I think it's not 3, it's 0.3% is like the real number for all of history. It's always been 0.3% approximately. And then it went to 20% when it was cool, and now it's not so cool anymore.
Yep. And you know what? As men, I think there is some sort of battle against us in our testosterone. Like I saw these studies on the clothes that we wear now. There are some materials on these clothes that give us estrogen. I think is I don't know the technique.
Yes, phthalates. They're called phthalates. It's PHTH.
Right.
ALATES, which is a type of plastic that sticks in your androgen receptors and does something weird, or something like that. It does something weird to testosterone.
It's a whole battle
real, 100%
with
real.
our food, with what we wear, the type of materials that, in any case, they want us weak. And also that's why pornography is like this big one that really drains you from that masculine source. Let me give you another one. There is like a not having your hair long or cutting your hair is almost like becoming a slave. So people don't want you to have long hair. And if you see the kings, the warriors, all have beard, all have long hair.
Wow.
So, so if you see what is the corporate world, and you start to looking at like that, you see this type of men who are in the essence warriors becoming a slave, like full out of soul, out of strength.
This is my hair like 5 years ago.
Very Nordic, very
yeah, something like that. I was going for like heavy metal, like I don't know, Viking warrior as well. I had this really weird moment. Like I was out for a run. It was a Saturday, like 2 months ago, in the morning, really early in the morning, like 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. I woke up, I couldn't go to sleep. I went for a run, and I'd been listening to the news where people are talking about like, oh, Britain's screwed, basically, like everything's gonna be terrible. And as I was running, I was thinking, like, I was just looking at the countryside, and I was just feeling like this is my natural environment. Like I'm a Viking, goddammit. Like I had this whole like thing of like, I don't think England is going anywhere. Like, because I don't know, I'm not a fighter. I don't like to fight. I don't like getting in pub fights.
But that has been
like
systematized, you know? Like think about it. Like you don't know how to do this because they don't want you to know this. So yeah, it's something to consider.
Yes. Yeah. Sure. Okay. How long do you want to go for, by the way?
I just sent you a message there in the chat. I think
I just saw that.
Yeah, 1 hour or so. Yeah.
Yeah. What you mean? Because it's 1 hour now.
Right. If you want, we can close it now. Can maybe.
Sure. I think I wanted to ask you one more question, if that's okay.
Sure.
If I can remember it, it was about spirituality. Yeah. Okay. So this might take longer than I thought. Well,
sure.
tell me,
I don't have any rush. or anything.
Okay, sure. Yeah, okay. If you don't have to be somewhere, that's fine.
No, I'm good. No worries.
Well, I was going to set up with this. So we were talking about Buddhism, and I wanted to point out that there are a lot of these religions that are sort of pagan, whether it's Hinduism, whether
Yes.
it's like European paganism, or I don't know, the Aztec pantheon, the Greek pantheon. These are very similar religions where they
The
seem to
Nordic
be
pantheon, yes.
well,
Mhm.
I would say that there's something that's clearly psychological about them, because it's like people who were pre-scientific attributing some level of consciousness to the river. The river is a god, or the tree, or the, I don't know, recording studio, or whatever. It's a god in some way because it has some kind of power. It seems to have some kind of it can do things that are powerful. And I have another idea, that is that a lot of these heroes from stories were probably real people. And I think some of the gods from Greek mythology, the stories came from real people.
Yeah.
But over time, it was like if someone is really impactful in your culture, in your tribe or something, and they build some great building, they drive dangerous tribes away from you so you're safer and all that stuff, and then that person dies, but the effect of what they did is still there. The building's still there. You're still safe from the other tribes. I think that maybe this is part of where the idea of somebody being immortal comes from, like heroes being immortal in old stories and stuff like that. And then Christianity and, well, Judaism, yes, but Christianity especially seems to be another type of religion. Like it's a different thing to this thing that's worldwide, where the spirits are here and there and people are whatever. It seems to be more, I mean, it is kind of psychological, but it's also, there's something else to it.
It goes beyond that. If you, I think is the word that you're looking for, or I don't know if you see it like that, but that's why it's so different. That is why it's different. Let me give you this, and I will share with you the profile. It's so crazy how this person thinks. Is
Okay.
this person that I mentioned that is a Christian, but he explains many esoteric things from the lens of that.
Interesting.
Let me give you this. I hope it blows your mind, because to me it did.
Okay.
So the Greek gods, the Nordic gods, they're in history, right? Like we have text about them and people worship them,
Yes.
and as you mentioned, so let's pretend that somebody did something so great that it becomes immortal in history, right? Which is good. But if you ask me, only Jesus is the one that is really is still in that. Like he beat them all. He destroyed. He kind of, in a way, if you think of a hierarchy, let's consider for a minute that the Greek gods exist. They existed,
Yes.
but Jesus is more powerful. So
Okay.
again, from a Christian perspective, you cannot say that because there is only one God, right? Like the Greek are not gods. But
Sure.
again, let's consider that there are many gods, but only this one is the one that it really dominates the whole thing. So this person is so crazy. Basically, what he said is that if you read the Bible, you will see that the angels that rebel against God were dismissed from heaven and went bounded to earth. What this person says is that those bodies are the planets, the morning, the stars, the actual planet Saturn. For example, Saturn is Lucifer, or Satan, actually, Neptune, all this. These entities, this consciousness that were bounded to this physical body, decided to incarnate on Earth, which is Zeus. They raped women, they had sons with men, the demigods, right?
Yes.
And those are the ones that are bounded in hell. Now, because of Jesus. Like, yeah, it's crazy. You need to see that.
Oh.
Yeah. Like they existed. They existed, Owen. That's the crazy thing. Like they were fallen angels. They were not gods. But of course, as an ant, you will think that they are gods because they can be so gigantic, so beautiful, right?
Lightning. Yeah. Absolutely. Wow,
They were
that's.
playing with God's toys and they fool us.
I really want my friend Michael to come on this podcast, and maybe you should come on the same episode, because he and I. So he's an artist. At some point, I'll show all the artwork of his that I commissioned that I've got on my wall.
Okay.
He's really a good friend, and he started thinking very deeply about like comparative mythology. Like he was thinking about Sumerian legends, Greek legends, Jewish Judaism, and Kabbalah and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And together we talked about this a lot. We used to have a phone chat every Tuesday. God, I wish we'd recorded some of them. They would form these spontaneous arcs like a podcast. I really have to I think maybe he's going to be a little nervous about doing it publicly, but I think we should really do it.
Yeah, that sounds very intriguing, because what you say is very true. Like, at some point something happened, and I think that's why the Bible says, stop worshiping those gods. Like, I'm not that God. I am the God. So that's so key. That's so key.
Yes. Yeah. Well, what we ended up talking about was, I do think that he believes that there's something literally true about this kind of thing, in a way where, see, I'm a bit like John D in this sense, where I can't quite make myself believe it literally, even though I can imagine it, and it's very interesting. And maybe one day, I don't know, I think I would have to make some big breakthrough realization about spirituality, and I've made several, but there's always more.
And you know what? Let me share this with you. Maybe that also helped your friend. I explore Buddhism a lot. Like, I mean, a lot. I even had the book of the deaths. I read it because I was preparing myself to the Bardo, which is the
Bardo, yeah. The space in between reincarnations.
Exactly, and I was already attuned to be eaten by the devils that are there. These demons. They have a lot of imagery about it.
Yes.
Because they say, if you let the demon eat you, is actually the Maya illusion cleaning yourself or something. I don't know. I don't even remember now.
No. Well, Shiva is the god, or is it Shiva? Maybe not. It's the god of life and death in Hinduism, and Hinduism and Buddhism have.
Right.
And there's a bit where Arjuna, I think it's Arjuna, I can't necessarily remember, says to this goddess, who I think is Shiva, like, show me all of creation. And he sees all of creation. He's like, wow. But then Shiva opens her mouth and he says, what's that on your teeth? And Shiva says, this is humanity. I'm eating humanity. There are people being eaten by my teeth.
Yeah,
and it's life and death. And he's like, okay, stop showing me that now. You know, life and death are kind of the same entity or somehow, but that's Hinduism. Right. I know it's not the same.
But what? Exactly. So you have a bunch of depictions of hell. There is a hell realm, the Bardo, and again. But what I wanted to say is, okay, so I'm sorry, what we're talking about before this?
You preparing for the Bardo, you're into Buddhism. My friend has my friend have figured out something quite deep about very old mythologies. It has to do with the Anunnaki as well. That's another point of comparison.
Right.
Yeah, the Anunnaki being the angels that had sex with humans or something.
Yes. Nephilim, they have some right. Some offspring Yeah, that's intriguing. And again, check the videos that I will share. But so when I was in this search, you start to kind of accept this hell, and you go through it and all that. But it was still under this layer of confusion. Like you need to trust to avoid and to jump ahead and trust the process, but you don't really know that is true. You feel scared. It's so confusing. It's not clear. That didn't happen to me with Christianity. And it's what I wanted to say is that in a way, if what your friend says that is true, that there is something that is truth beyond this realm or something,
Mm-hmm.
then you might need to be careful which one are you picking,
Yeah.
because it is your own will that puts you in such places.
Sure.
So in a way, I do believe that Buddhism is very deceptive, even though it sounds very naive.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a dangerous from the Christian perspective. Very
Interesting.
dangerous.
Just quickly, what's the number one reason that you think it can be dangerous from a Christian perspective? Is it the morality thing? Is it if you kill someone, you're just popping a balloon? It's just life.
Right. You don't have any commandments there. Like, it's not clear boundaries between what is wrong, what is good. And you're
Mm-hmm.
worshiping the universe, but
Mm-hmm.
you're not really connected to God.
Oh, well, Jason Louv is an expert he's trained in all kinds of different disciplines of religion and magic and stuff like that. One of the big experts, very, very smart guy. He says Buddhism is like a cult of annihilation, where the goal is to get into a meditative state where you feel and see nothing. And it's all about this self-annihilation.
It's pure death. It's so sterile, Owen, if you ask me. Like, let me tell you this. When I was doing that, I was meditating all day. I quit smoking, I quit drinking, I shaved my head. I mean it. I was this bodhisattva. I thought I was a bodhisattva, which is this person that reincarnates. I thought I was enlightened, and I reincarnated here to enlighten others. Like, I was totally bananas, if you ask me. But
Fair enough.
So
I'm finally killed my ego. Now I'm better than everyone else.
Exactly. So I was walking with this big spiritual ego, not carnal ego, but a spiritual. So still there. And I remember I was one day in my apartment, so sad, so broken, and I started to say, I'm going to reach enlightenment here. Like, I will do it today. And I started to meditate, as very similar of what you did, Owen, what you mentioned about projecting an image and just letting your imagination continue in such a path or something.
Sure.
And I had this vision. I started to cry, and I went to the bed. I remember that I put my face in the bed, like, I don't know how to say this, but
I
wanted to see
understand.
darkness. I was I was training for death, to go through that into the darkness.
Wow.
And I saw this vision of a samurai, like this ancient samurai. It was a very dark place. Imagine a total darkness, absolute total darkness, and there is only one samurai there meditating. And it's almost like I entered his space, which is where I wanted to be. I was training for death. I was training for the void. And it's almost like I interrupted his space, and he ran up to me with his sword. Like, he just, like, get out of here. Like, you don't belong here, or don't go here. Yeah.
Blinding.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I was out. But so, yeah, that was very crazy. But what I mean is, if that's true, you shouldn't feel that such of a bad thing. Or it's almost like he was wrong. He's dead already, and he's there. And he missed it. It's something like that. And that was really frightening. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that.
I see what you're saying. I think the only... Yeah, you're right. It definitely shouldn't feel wrong. But...
Yeah, and I mean it.
But
It's
there's
like,
fear. There is fear involved in the divine as well. You
right,
know?
that's true.
But I guess it's a different kind of fear. It's more like the fear of... The fear
But
of...
yeah,
You know, the fear of falling on the wrong side of... I don't know, the glory of God or the kingdom of heaven or whatever, for being on the wrong side of it. That's the fear.
and that's a good one. That's a good one. But this fear, the one that I share with you with this samurai, I didn't feel scared, if you ask me, back then. Like this was okay. That he pulled me off. He pulled me out. But
Mhm.
it's almost like you can. Um, I don't know if that person existed or not. Maybe it was an illusion of some sort of something. But
Mhm.
it felt so alone. It felt so disconnected from whatever that you think that is godly, that it didn't feel right.
Sure.
And it's so disconnected that you cannot even kind of describe it or decore it. It was
Mhm.
just this gray samurai. It was almost like I was seeing it in black and white.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really intense. As a vision. Once under the influence of psychedelics, I had an experience that was a little bit like wrestling with God, but it was like in the Bible when Jacob wrestles with an angel or something, which is
Mhm.
supposed to be a metaphor. Like, because most of the characters in the Bible, they're not these perfect people. They're quite flawed and they do things wrong and they wrestle with God. And obviously you get injured. If you fight with God, you get injured. Like
Right.
God
Yeah,
tends to be
cannot be God.
stronger. He's even stronger than Andrew Tate with all his big muscles and his Bugattis. But you know, and for me it was like I think it was a sign of being on a good path. Although again, I'm not exactly a Christian. I think if
Yes.
I called myself a
Yes.
Christian, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, perhaps, but it's like if I called myself a Christian, I feel that would be a very loose definition of Christian. Um,
No,
whereas,
you need to no, you need to experience it first, of course. But no, I think what you're getting at, which is that I don't know if this helps, but what the atheists, the agnostics, or anybody who doesn't really fully believe in God lacks, if you ask me, is this sense of you're still kind of you still have some sort of rage towards God, because this wrestling with God is almost
mhm,
like you're saying, okay, I have flaws, I have something that is, I don't like something about myself, and you give me this. Like, why did you give me this burn? Right?
mhm.
This anger towards God. I think that's a really good thing. That's a first step. And what I realize is that that is the anger that doesn't allow you to kind of forgive God or allow Him to be. Like, it is what it is, man. Like, it gave you those struggles. It gave you those limitations. That's it. You cannot bargain with God. It's almost like we want God to be what we want.
I think you can bargain with God a little bit. Maybe not bargain. Maybe that's the wrong word. But I would say you
Okay.
can you can make a kind of agreement.
So you
Yeah,
what is that? So you're saying that you can make an agreement, is what you're saying?
I think you can make an agreement. Like
I think you cannot, and that's the error. And
interesting.
yeah, that is important that you understand, because you may have a bargain with a demon, with a demigod, with
Hmm.
something that wants something from you. But God doesn't need anything from you. Oh, absolutely nothing. Like, God can destroy you right away if he wants.
Uh-huh. I guess this goes back to me seeing God as the universe. And I kind of think, well, so here's where I think I'm trying to maybe say something a little bit different. Where, okay, a demon will say to you something like, if you give me your soul, I'll make you the best violinist in all of Italy. You know, or if you give me if you sign away your future, your soul is your future, your ability to control your own life, I will give you something now, right now.
Right.
You know, money or fame or whatever.
Yeah.
But you sacrifice your future in some sense, whether it's your reputation, whether it's your health. Because you might think, well, like when I was talking to my doctor the other day, he was saying he has some people who are cocaine addicts that he knows, some patients who he's met recently who are cocaine addicts, who use cocaine to work 24 hours a day to become rich, to become business CEOs or lawyers or whatever. So they didn't sleep, they just worked all day as much as possible, you know, sleep all weekend, and then just work right the way through the week, and just constantly. And then like women and alcohol and everything else.
Okay.
And to me, that's a Faustian bargain. That's a bargain with the devil, because that's your future health, that's your reputation, because you can't stop. If that's how you've made your career, you probably are not actually very good at the career. You can't just stop doing that and then work a normal day and still have success. So you've sacrificed something in the future. Whereas I think when you make a deal with God, I say a deal, maybe you're right, maybe deal is the wrong word, but when you make a deal, you say, I'm going to live like this, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to say when I've done something wrong, and I'm going to be humble. And over time, hopefully, I will slowly, incrementally do better in the world. What do you think?
I think you got it right. I think you got it perfect. And it is some sort of a pact that you do with God.
Mm-hmm. But not a bargain. It's not you can't say, hey, God, give me this. And, you know, dear God, I really, really want a Bugatti. Andrew Tate makes me feel like I'm not
I really want to be Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. The devil might give you some of that, right? But not God.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree what you said about the compromise. And yes, also you said that you want something now, but God is telling you the reward that I will give you is not in this life, but in the next one. That is why it's so mind-blowing and hard to be a Christian if you really consider it. Because the Bible says, my kingdom is not of this world. Renounce wealth, renounce the meaningless quest here, and you will live at the end. And that's like,
I have I guess my thoughts about that. My thoughts about that are that's a model. So that's like a model of belief. So that's a structure where if I do something good now and I'm patient, good things will come in the future. Now, I know you're saying it's the next life and things like that, but I think it's a structure that if you live by that structure, it will also work in this life, probably.
Absolutely.
Unless you get sick or something random happens, or you get murdered by like a gangster or something. It's something random.
No, I totally agree. And I think you also relates to what you said about the fractals. It's the same. Like it works in this life.
Yes.
It continues. It's the same.
It's the same pattern at different levels of size.
You need to see these videos of this person. I'm just stealing his knowledge and in my words, but he's so good when he explains it.
Sure, I'll definitely watch them. Thank you for giving me access. That's really kind of you.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing that's really burning that I really want to ask you is, what do you think that there's any possibility that some of this stuff has to do with aliens or interdimensional things or something like that? Because there's a number of passages in the Bible that really sound like cosmic meta truths, you know?
Dude, yes, yes, absolutely.
Wow.
We're not alone in the sense that we don't know what. Let me just put this in the table. God gave us the Bible, but I don't know what other books he wrote or what other universe he has, or
Hmm.
like the fact that
Sure.
he shows us some information in the Bible doesn't mean that he gave us the whole thing.
No, he definitely
Mm.
didn't, I don't think. Do you think it would be too much for us? We wouldn't know how
I
to
do believe
even.
that. There is this monk, Orthodox monk, very interesting, Seraphim Rose. He was American. You need to look for
Oh,
him.
yes.
He has a talk about the Garden of Eden, and he explains that in a way, if Adam and Eve never really have sinned, eventually God will have given us the tree of knowledge. But we
Hmm.
took it too young. And think about it, like, I don't know, what if God, we never sinned, we never took that fruit, we evolved in the Garden of Eden, we understand how to be humans, how to, I guess God will say, okay, now you can take a bite out of this tree and see, I have created this other universe. I don't know, right? Other universes. And I don't know. I'm just speculating
Yeah,
here.
yeah. How was God ever supposed to tell, like, the ancient goat farmers of the Middle East about the 13-dimensional cosmic strings that connect the universes or something crazy?
Yeah,
They wouldn't know where to start. So he has to start with, you know, with rules like just don't kill each other, respect your elders, don't hurt children,
right.
this kind of thing. I guess, the thing that's really interesting about what you just said is the Garden of Eden. I think psychologically, the Garden of Eden might be this idea of pastoral, ancient farming, or maybe even pre-farming, like hunter-gathering societies that had no predators and things like that. There was a certain point in time that was like that. And then things got more complicated. They invented weapons and war and things like that. But also, it makes you think of the idea. The guy who discovered DNA believes that DNA is too complex to have evolved on Earth. It has to have been made somewhere else a long time ago and
Yep.
delivered to Earth, panspermia. And it makes you think, what about the idea that, people like Joe Rogan always talk about, where what if aliens accelerated evolution, or gods accelerated evolution?
Mhm.
And we would have eventually got the secrets of broadband, the secrets of flight, the secrets of traveling to other planets. But something happened where we were like a failed experiment. We did something wrong. We tried to take knowledge we weren't ready for, and it could be some kind of aliens related explanation. I don't know. I don't know. Just want to make clear to everybody watching, I'm just having fun with ideas. Like, don't take this seriously. This part specifically, don't take it too seriously.
Yeah. Well, I did consider that for a long time.
I think we don't
But
know
even,
about it.
yeah, but even with that, you still have the dilemma of who created the aliens.
Mhm.
So, with or without aliens, I do believe in God, and that God is this intelligence that just beautifully crafted everything. It's so
Mhm.
beautiful. Like, if you have a bunch of trees of wood and you just collide them in chaos, it doesn't create like a boat or like a house.
Right. Uh-huh.
Just pure randomness doesn't create anything.
And they say things like, well, if the hydrogen atom was one, I don't know, whatever they call it, like nanogram less heavy, you could have no universe. Or if the electron was 1% faster, we would have no universe. Or the whole universe would just be this block of iron, or some crazy thing where the universe seems to be perfectly fine-tuned for expansion, for generations of stars. First, there were these big hydrogen stars which created elements, and then there were these smaller, hotter stars, or I think hotter, yeah, that created all the other elements. So all the iron in our bodies and all around us, everything, all the iron was created in ancient stars. And but that was an engine that was set into motion to create more and more complex things. And evolution is the same thing, where it's a very simple animal, or but not bug, what do you say, like microbe, amoeba, which becomes a more complex thing, which becomes an ant, which becomes a spider, not literally, but a spider and a shrew and a monkey and humans,
So it existed before it was even a thing. Like the code is so perfect that's not random.
It's within physics.
So yeah, God knows his stuff. God knows his creation.
God knows his stuff. Yeah. He's not stupid, you know that.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll call it a day for today. We'll have to do another one of these in the future. I think we can do one. You and me can do one every couple of weeks, every few weeks, something like that. I'm quite busy, but one a week is pretty good. Sorry, one with you, maybe one a month, something like that, because there's a couple of other people I like to interview. I really want to do one with both you and my friend Michael. I think that would be really interesting, and it might make him feel a bit calmer if there's three of us, as opposed to him maybe feeling like a lot of pressure to talk because he doesn't do public. He's not a public-facing artist. He's quite a private person, I suppose.
Yeah. Hey, that's fine. I will be happy to help you guys with that. Sure.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. You can check out Ivan in the description. I'll link your channel and your website, Phantom Theory, and
thank you.
And sorry, what's your other website called?
No, that's the only one, actually.
That's the only one. Sorry. Yes. Okay. Your Instagrams. That's what I was thinking. I'll put all of that in the description. It's worth checking out. He's a writer, and you can go and find his writings. All right.
Hey, thank you, Owen. Absolutely.
Anytime.
Thank you for the invitation. Have a great one.